This low light bothering y'all, or y'all need me to cut some light on here?
No, you good.
You good
All right,
money,
cool.
yo.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead, Bob.
Recording live from somewhere. This is Tissue and the Tape podcast. Davis backwards. And who? State your name, Philmatic.
Philmatic 365, aka summer's here, man. What's up? I'm hot in these streets, man.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good look, man. As always, we always say that, any year that goes by, you may not remember the springtime, you may not remember the fall, but you always gonna remember the summer, right?
Yeah, man. Summer of '96, yo, the time of my life. But
right.
Yo, man, tonight, we find talking to the realest people in the game, and tonight we got the realest
for real.
Yeah. Vibe. When I called you and I told you, I was like, yo, it's these dudes, man. Yo, they found it. They found it.
Yeah.
Like it's when it come to podcast, they found it. And when I tell you, for my money, I don't give a shit about how many listeners you got or how much promotion you got behind you or how many machines you got behind you. It's all about the quality. And these two dudes, for my money, hands down, they got the best podcast in the business.
For sure.
Man, that's crazy to hear.
Yo, so see, because I don't care nothing about who you got for your promotion and all that. None of that matter. It's about the quality. It's about the chemistry. It's about just bringing the audience in organically. And these brothers, from the realest podcast ever, they really did it. And tonight we couldn't get both of them, but we got one half of the realest podcast ever. From the best city in the whole wide world. We're gonna get right into it. Get right with the shits. We got my main man, CHS alumni, just like your boy, Steve Diddy.
260, baby.
Yeah, you already know 256, man. I'm about to throw up numbers like I'm in a set. Steve, what is up, my man?
Oh man, I'm doing good, man. I appreciate y'all brothers having me on here tonight, man. We was just talking off air for a second. I said, I had to re-download the Hangouts app and make sure I got on here, with my guys, man, so we can get this done. It's been a long time coming. Y'all constantly supporting the show, reposting it, bouncing topics off of me and Matt and stuff like that. And I just genuinely appreciate it, man. We new to this podcast game. We only been at it for it's just being a year and a half now. We started January of 2017, and we got a lot of support and a lot of traction out of the gate, man. And there's people like y'all that help push us forward, and I just appreciate y'all sharing y'all platform with me tonight.
No doubt, man. We appreciate what you do. Like I said in the open, man. Like I'm telling you, like it's a thing. Like I don't know. Like few people have it. I mean, like Jesus and Mero got they got their chemistry. Our homies, our big homies, the War Room, they got their chemistry. But y'all just like y'all just work perfectly together. Who I'm talking about, of course, Matt Makes Me Sick and yourself. Kind of give our audience a little background on how you guys linked up to start the Realest podcast.
Well, me and Matt, we both from Southwest Philly. I'm a little bit older than Matt. I'm 35. He's 32. But we have a lot of shared experience and a lot of just similar qualities in the way that we think, and that kind of drew us together in terms of being friends on social media and things like that. And then with him being from Penrose, part of Southwest, and then where I was from, we had a lot of mutual friends. So it just kind of like, it was almost like when I met the guy, I felt like I knew him already. And we just developed just a chemistry just as friends, and just in our conversation, in the way that we would have personal conversations, stuff related to media, the same type of stuff that we would share on social media. And it just got to a point where, through some of our group chats and stuff, we in different group chats with various people. Like it's one with me, him, our good friend Pastor Carl, and my man Love. And it's like 4 guys from, same experience, different walks of life. And, you know, we just have some amazing conversation. And then it's another one with me, Matt, and Ra, who's a constant, you know, supporter of the show. And he appears on our show on a
No
regular
doubt.
basis. And, you know, it's just through all of these conversations, I'm just like, this is a podcast. Like this is media that we're having. Like these same conversations and the way that we're having them together, we need to share these conversations with the world because people are having these conversations everywhere. And I think that our perspective is unique enough that people would care about it. And, you know, a year and a half later, you know, the podcast is continuing to grow. We just did the Roost Picnic. We're moderating a conversation coming up with Derek Grace. For those of you who don't know who Derek Grace is, he's the gentleman who has been going viral on social media with, you know, got the dreadlocks, tattoos on his face, and he teaches his kids about Black empowerment, you know, social responsibility, financial responsibility, and also how to arm themselves and defend themselves against potential threats and enemies. So we have a upcoming event, you know, where we're moderating a conversation with him, Gilly, Wallow, and a few different people. And, you know, basically, like, you know, through our brand, a lot of people have recognized what we're doing, and they like, I want to be a part of that. How can I help y'all? You know, I want to advertise. I want to come on the show. I want to put y'all on the Roost Picnic. Shout out to my friend Tyler Dean, who just did that for us. And everything is literally falling into place. And we have a partnership with Kicks USA now to do a offshoot, a sneaker podcast.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into that.
Yeah, so in a short amount of time, man, everything has, like, you know, come together, and I couldn't be happier with, you know, the success that we've gotten so far. And I just think that it's an attribute to me and Matt, you know, just being who we are, sharing part of ourselves and giving people with that real conversation, stuff that people are afraid to talk about, is what's connected us to the audience.
Yeah.
No doubt.
The thing that comes across, I think that people really relate to with the podcasts that are successful and just media in general is when people are unapologetically themselves, it just comes across in a way that's just infectious, and people want more of that because, as we all know, that's not something that's very common. And I think that's something that you guys, you know, got that in spades. So that's what kind of people gravitate to a lot of times. And then, I mean, like the comedic aspect of it, like sometimes, like what you're talking about isn't funny, but just the way that you express it is funny. You know, like
It
you
ends
know?
up being funny, right?
Right, exactly. So,
I mean, the number one policy that we got on the show is full transparency. Like, I talk about any and everything. I expose the good, the bad, and the ugly about myself because I'm not afraid of who I am. And something that my cousin Al would always say when we was, you know, building, we was like doing music. He was the artist and I was like the executive, whatever. And he would always say, "It's no success story without a struggle story attached to it."
yeah.
So I live my life. That's one of the ethos that I live my life based off of. It's just like I own my struggle. I own the fact that for a year and a half I was like piss poor, dead broke, didn't know how to figure it out, and then eventually I did, and then it's led me on a path to where now I feel like I'm in a position to help other people, and people come to me for business advice and consulting, and I'm a part of, you know, the marketing and promotion for the biggest nightclub brand in Philadelphia and stuff like that. But I don't get here if I don't have with myself in 2013 and say, "You're fucking up. You're being too arrogant. You need to humble yourself. You need to change this about yourself, or you're not going to win." And that's what turned me on back onto my path to success to where I am now.
No doubt, man. And talk about that, man. You mentioned being a part of biggest nightclub in the city, man. Kind of elaborate, let the people know about that.
Marketing promotions director for Vanity Grand Cabaret. We're basically a sister club to Cheerleaders, which is like a, you know, white mainstream strip club here in the you know, in the southeastern part of PA and in South Jersey. And I basically been working for Vanity Grand from the inception. Like I was just starting off doing events there. Then I came in and was doing like social media coordination and stuff like that. And then January of this year, I basically took over all the control of all the marketing promotions, everything front of the house, booking talent. When we brought Casanova, when we brought Rallo, when we bought Lil Durk, when we brought Wyatt and Lucci down my birthday to are mine or part of my brainchild, and I'm saying, we need to catch this artist on the way up, or this person is here for a concert. We need to do this concert after party and this, that, and the third. And I'm basically using all of my different social connections and the fact that, I'm an outwardly expressive person and, and networking with different people. And that's what I literally do for a living now. And it's to the point where, I've grown past just being an event promoter, and now I'm helping to craft the nightlife scene in my market where I grew up in.
Dope.
Yeah.
All right. Now that we got that out the way, let's get to this smoke, man. There's a lot of things going on this week, man. We just gonna run down a couple things, but a vibe. Before we do that, we like to do something with everybody that come on with us. We got a thing we do called tit for tat, and it's just rapid fire questions. It's either this or that, and you give us the answer that best that best fits with your sensibilities. You with it?
Yeah, I'm with it. Let's do it.
All right, hey Vi, you wanna kick it off?
Yeah, I'll start it off. All right, Chad. So, like you said, tit for tat. We're gonna start off with a bang right now. DJ Premier, Pete Rock.
Oh man, I'm gonna say Prima.
Okay. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just how you feel at the time.
I'm gonna say Prima.
Okay. Cash Money Records of Rough Riders.
Cash Money.
I mean, anybody that listens to your podcast knows how you feel about Wayne.
They would know how
right.
How
they know how you feel about Wayne. So with that being said, 1998 DMX to 2004 Lil Wayne.
I'm gonna have to. I love Wayne, but I'm gonna have to go with X. X was a lightning rod.
Ooh, upset.
Yeah.
Okay. X was unlike anything we had ever seen in hip hop to that point. Like it was undeniable. It was literally like a chasm and a glitch in the matrix compared to how everything had went for the prior 6 or 7 years. So I gotta give it to X.
No doubt. All right, you got it, Phil.
All right. Nas or Jay-Z? Did we lose him?
Oh, there you go. He might be there.
For today, I'm gonna say Jay.
Okay.
But today, tomorrow, I might say Nas.
Okay, so so on that line, what's the better song, Ether or Takeover?
They're two different records sent to deliver almost like two different messages. Jay-Z specifically talk like credibility, your career trajectory. I will not know more. Nas just like broke Jay down to the point where it's like he had to look in the mirror and say, damn, do I hate women? I am kind of ugly. This is like fucked up. So for that reason, I gotta go with Ether, which is the greatest diss record of all time.
Okay. All right. Ruthless or Death Row?
Oh.
He had a moment of silence. I'm gonna edit all this out anyway, so all the sound. Did we lose him? I think we might have.
Yeah, we might have. Nah, he's still there. I think.
Yeah, I'm back. I think I might have went through. Did y'all hear me? I said DOC is my most underrated MC of all time, and Ice Cube is in my top 5. So
I'm gonna have to put my work in on this one.
Yeah, am I back? Can you hear me?
You back? Don't worry. I had to edit on it, so it'll.
All right, cool. No, what I said was I said DOC is my #1 most underrated MC of all time, and Ice Cube is a stalwart in my top 5. I will not move Ice Cube out of my top 5, so I'm gonna go with Ruthless.
Okay. Beans or Meek?
Beans.
All right. In Jordans or Yeezys? Do the right thing, Chad.
Being a prisoner of the moment, I would say Yeezys, but I'm smart enough to know that the Jordan brand and legacy is too much to overcome. And he just had the top sneaker of 2017, so I'm gonna go with Jordans.
No doubt that off-white.
That off-white was the number one. That shit fucked everything up. Like,
Definitely did. A lot of bank accounts got fucked up.
Oh man, listen.
A lot of kids kids potential savings plans. They
everything.
The rent, the mortgages. All right, this is my last one before Vi take over. Very, very key. You got a 2-on-2.
Okay.
Magic and Shaq versus Kobe and Kareem. Who you taking?
Magic and Shaq versus Kobe and Kareem. Kobe's my absolute favorite player, and Kareem has an unstoppable move, so I'm gonna take them.
Smart.
All right.
Smart.
I like it. All right, Vi, you gonna wrap this thing up?
Yes, sir. Okay, so obviously you live in the greatest city in the world, but if you were to live somewhere else within the United States, and we told you to choose between Los Angeles and Las Vegas, which one would you choose?
I would choose Las Vegas.
Okay. To get expensive grub, Fogo de Chao or Barclay Prime?
Barclay all day.
Better phrase, y'all weird or start the label up?
Oh man, it's actually bring the label back.
Bring the label back.
Bring the label back. Okay.
Bring the label back brings me to tears every time I hear it, so I'm gonna go with that.
Okay. Just
so
you know.
y'all, just so people know that y'all listeners, y'all weird is a stalwart in Philly slang now. We got everybody saying y'all weird.
Oh, I caught my y'all weird t-shirt.
Yeah, so it's like it's. I mean, I'm hearing it outside the city, so just be
no doubt.
Don't shortchange yourself. Phil, you got the last two.
Okay, all right.
Oh man,
a dinosaur with a 6-figure income or a YBOD with a 94 Chevy Celebrity?
It depends on how, or is she a fossil? Is the question that I gotta ask.
Not quite a fossil. Just she just hit dinosaur range.
If she's a fossil, that means she 35 plus, and I'm.
Oh man. Oh damn.
And take the wild bit. I'm 35 now. I'm getting old, man.
You 35 now. You was breaking up. You was breaking up a bit. So I'm gonna ask you. You said you 35 now. So the podcast guys is doing this dirty.
Oh, man, she gotta love it, and I don't want to be giving out very. Can you hear me, Phil?
You back on now. You was cutting in and out. Now? Yeah.
Yeah, these Philly streets, man, and this Sprint service ain't no good, man.
Oh man, you got Sprint. You might as well have like two cans, yo. In a
I got boss my life up.
All right, we gonna run it back. All right, so I'm gonna ask you one more time. All right, a dinosaur with a 6-figure income or a YBOD with a 94 Chevy Celebrity?
I'm gonna pick the dinosaur. I'm 35 now. I'm getting old, so chasing them young girls is hazardous at times, and she's gonna need $40 to $60 every 2 days. So I'm gonna pick the dinosaur.
Got that right.
40 to 60. All right. So in my last one, who's worse? This one you might have to phone a friend for this one. Who's worse? Broke niggas on the bus or broke bitches in the club?
Broke. Can I write in a vote?
You can definitely write in one.
Broke niggas in the club. I've seen niggas scumbag people's bottles that got their backwash in it after they leave the sections and walk around with the bottle. So broke niggas in the club are worse than both of them.
Wow.
That's a tough one. Well, because if you broke, like, you could have stayed home, like nobody told you to come out.
And that's the thing, you're purposely in the way. Nobody made you come here, but you just want to come out and be a part of whatever's going on and be in the fucking way. Like, so broke niggas in the club are trump everybody.
Because like like if you're a broke nigga trying to get on a bus, like we all been there. Like it could be 100 degrees or it could be raining and snowing, and you might not have it, like maybe not now, but at some point in life, you're like, man, like, I'm only going 2 blocks. Like Matt always says, like, I'm only going 2 blocks. Let me just... Hey,
big man, I'm only going 3 blocks, man.
So yeah, they get a pass somewhere, no doubt. So yeah, we did that just so people could just get a better idea. Obviously, our listeners, we want to make sure that they know who we're speaking to. Again, we're speaking to Chad, aka C Diddy, one half of the realest podcast ever, who Phil just mentioned, how we feel about the podcast. We know your time is valuable. We want to actually just get your perspective on a few things tonight before we let you go.
Okay, cool. I'm here, man. Whatever y'all need, man. Let's get it.
So once again, we were talking to Chad about Roots Picnic. Obviously, we've seen it grow over the past 8 years, 9 years, to the point where not only is it in the city, of course, of Philadelphia, first weekend in June. Chad, what do people need to do to make sure that the Roots know that you need to be on the one in October in New York City?
Yeah. Roots Picnic is coming up in New York City in October. What I need everybody to do, if y'all support me and Matt and the TRPE movement, I need y'all to flood their mentions on the Roots Picnic Twitter page and on their Instagram page, and DM them also on Instagram and let them know that the Realest Podcast Ever is your favorite podcast and they need to be on that podcast stage for New York City.
Yes, sir.
No doubt.
One of our favorite things last year when we were talking about exclusive performances, and we put everything from live award show performances to radio show freestyles. One of our favorite things last year was Black Thought and, of course, Amir Thompson, aka Questlove, giving out the lineup of the fall version of the Roots Picnic with Black Thought coming off the dome, of course, with the freestyles. That was incredible, man.
Yeah, he freestyled every
artist
that was in the New York Roots Picnic. He freestyled the lineup, which was just ill. As Questlove made the beat on the table.
Yeah, that was sick. So we need to hear that this year, yo. Shout to C Diddy, and of course Matt makes me say we need to hear Thought put that in a bar somehow because you guys are there in October. So we are rooting for you guys. We definitely will get the word out that people need to let people know that you guys need to be there.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Like Philly was actually like for like the weekend, like I mean, besides the bad weather and everything, like it was kind of the center of the Twitter talk for about 48 hours.
Yes, for a lot of reasons.
Let's talk about that, man. They just announced the Made in America festival lineup. It looks like somebody that had an interesting weekend in Philadelphia is actually returning back for Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, I have a bold prediction. I don't think he's coming back. Or if he does, he'll be moving way different than he did last time.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so. He coming back as a barista this time. I mean, because on the video it appeared he was making triple mocha lattes.
Now you're in the clubs. You hear a lot of music. You hear Plug Walk. You hear New Freezer. Absolutely. You hear this guy's records. You see how the crowd reacts to them. Does he really think that he's a bigger star than Uzi?
I think with Rich is that he, he's been in the background for so long.
Yeah.
Being the fourth Migo, being signed to QC, people getting fast-tracked ahead of him, Migos, Yachty, all these different people getting fast-tracked ahead of him to where he basically had to kind of take like a back door into the industry to get popping, to where it's like, all right, now you got a gold album. You got 2 platinum singles. You getting all this media coverage, you running the festival circuit. So to now, because Uzi's kind of laying dormant and he hasn't really dropped anything since the end of last year, it's kind of like, man, I'm bigger than him, blah, blah, blah. But let us not forget, Uzi's last project went platinum and his last big single is at 9 million right now. So the presence of running around now will have somebody feeling like they're bigger than what they are.
Right.
So I get what Rich is doing, and he's just basically trying to stamp himself and almost like use the beef with Uzi to get over the hump to anybody that's not convinced, but it just took a left turn for him.
Yeah, man. Uzi body Coachella, man. There's levels to this thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even
with the Roost picnic itself, like Rich went on at 3:45, Uzi came on at 8:30. So it's just like that should tell you where you rank in the pantheon of similarly yoked artists as yourself. Like you ain't there yet. We got 11 more artists before we get to Uzi. Like
yeah. So that's the other thing too. Just how the artists move. Like, obviously, South Street infamously has been the I don't want to say the battleground, but definitely has been a place for people local and non-local.
Yeah, once upon a time, we talked about Beanie Siegel. Once upon a time, he put hands and feet on a certain member of a Philadelphia rap collective on South Street in front of Sports.
Oh, it was the epicenter of all things volatile for a few years, yo.
Yeah.
Them late 90s, early 2000s. Hands and feet was being thrown about.
Heads were rolling, literally.
Obviously, things have changed, but nonetheless, like it was. I don't want to say it was good to see, but it was like just that energy of like, yo, you're in my city, fam. Like, don't get it twisted. Like,
I know people that are influential people in the music industry that I talk to every day that tried to intervene in that situation because we wanted to book Rich for our after party for the Roost picnic.
Okay.
And it just got to a point where they trying to talk to Rich and they trying to talk to Uzi and they like, man, this shit ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just like stuck on XYZ gotta happen and then we can move past it. Like, Uzi was literally stuck on the fact like, I gotta smack this nigga before we can even entertain moving on. And he been saying it since March and he stood on his word. He stood on it and he was not playing.
Yeah. People think because the way the boy dress and the shit that he wear, he is still from North Philadelphia.
Still from North Philly, man. Still from Francisville at the end of the day, man.
And like he's like a kind of no nonsense. Even when he talks to reporters, he talks to media. Like we talk about being unapologetic. Like, he really just is looking like I am who I am. Like, deal with it.
He speaks and presents himself very matter of factly. And He owns who he is. He got up there dressed like Grace Jones after running Rich the Kid up and down South Street. Like, so that just goes to show you, like, I don't feel no pressure in terms of what you or anybody else think. And, it's actually applaudable, especially, in the current society that we live in where individuality and, is celebrated. Like, he's more of an individual than most. Like, he hangs out with Meek Mill and he hangs out with Marilyn Manson. Like, he is who he is.
So you're saying if we were to take bets now, you could put $100 on Rich the Kid not making his set for Made in America.
Either not making it or changing, like doing the exact opposite to what he did Roots Picnic week.
Got you.
He thought it was, for whatever reason, he thought it was sweet, and he found out the hard way that it's not. And he also learned a valuable lesson that all rappers need to learn early in their career. Your security can't save you.
Right.
You sure can't.
Right.
Especially when you deviate from the plan. Matt talked about this on the podcast yesterday. Security has A, B, C, and sometimes a D plan. Once you start running up the street like a fucking chicken with your head cut off, we don't know what to do no more.
Right. He likened it to a scrambling quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. You run out of the pocket and you like, it's no telling if Az Hakim is gonna be open down the field or not.
They talked about Az Hakim on I want to say it was Madden 2000. It was the greatest show on turf, Rams. And if you put Az Hakim in the slot, it was the cheat code, yo.
Yo,
Yeah, that was definitely a glitch in the system that like in 2018 they would send a patch through and eliminate that, but in 2000 that wasn't such a thing, and it was easy money, man. It got to be to where they had to outlaw that, man.
So who could Jay Prince this whole situation?
I think that Meek can probably patch it up. Meek can patch it up. Somebody in Meek's camp was the one that I'm very good friends with and I do business with. Somebody in Meek's camp tried to patch it up and it didn't work. But I think Meek himself, his voice is big enough and people respect him enough, especially the younger guys. All the under 30s respect Meek as so I think that Meek could probably fix that problem.
Speaking of which, he's gonna be one of the headliners for Made in America.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
rightfully
he
so.
Deserves it.
Rightfully so.
It's interesting that him and Nicki Minaj.
I was just about to say that. I was like, I wonder. And she goes on after him.
Yeah, absolutely. She's closing. She's the Sunday. I think she's either the Saturday night closer or the Sunday night closer, and Post Malone is the opposite night. So whichever order, the one goes in, the other one.
But are they there? Are they there the same night though? Is my question.
No, 2 different nights.
Okay, I was about to say that because that would be interesting to see.
I'm sure they're going to put them on 2 different nights. Meek is probably going to be on the same night as Post Malone.
Yeah. For everybody that saw the Watch the Throne tour and recognize it as one of the best displays as far as from a performance standpoint, and we saw Niggas in Paris get run 14 times in Detroit. Yeah. When they were in Philly, they did it 8 times. When they were in Vegas, they did it.
Atlantic City, I was at the Atlantic City show. They did it 11 or 12 times.
So obviously, Dreams and Nightmares intro isn't quite Niggas in Paris in terms of just the tempo of it with the beat and everything by Hit Boy. But is there a way for Meek to be able to run it more than once? I just feel like I know it's the climax of his set, but I just feel like
the build up the buildup of the record and the anticipatory part of it is what sells the record.
Right.
So it's hard to get all the way to that emotional high and then come back down again.
Right. That's the tough part.
That's the only problem with it. Like, imagine if somehow I'm a Boss reached the same level as Niggas in Paris. That's a record he could perform over and over and over again. But unfortunately for him, it's a good and a bad thing. But the way that record is structured is not meant to be played multiple times.
Yeah, because you almost have to start your set with the first part of it, but you can't do the first part and not do
You can't.
Wait a minute. You gotta do that, or
you have to. People are waiting on that. Like it's just a build up. Like
one of the best things from Jay's performance last year was bringing out Meek and them performing that record together. And you could just see genuinely on Jay's face, he was like, God damn, this is a hot ass record. Like that stamp right there is just
you have a great record when other rappers wish that they had the record.
Right. You can see it on his face. He was like, man, like if I would have had one of these, I would and he had his catalog is what it is already, but you see that all the time. Phil, so we got, of course, Chad from the Realest podcast ever. We talked about Uzi and Rich. We talked about the fact that they pretty much opened up the podcast stage that had such luminaries as our girl Angela Rye. Hey, listen, salute.
Hey,
sharing that same stage with her. I mean, already that just was
she's a winner.
Yeah, for sure.
Just say the least.
Is amazing in every way.
Roots Picnic, of course. Again,
yo, you know who had it going crazy? Drink Champs had the podcast stage.
We heard you say that.
Flooded.
Yeah.
Like they had 40 people on stage and like 200 something people watching.
Sunny D, BET, and all of this. They came up in the bus.
My man that coordinated the show was telling me, he like, yo, Drink Champs is traveling with 40 people. I'm like, how?
Yeah.
Like,
they had a bus.
Yeah.
And like they showed the like on DJ EFN Instagram, they showed like everybody getting on and off the bus and it looked like it looked like they had like an NFL game.
But that's like bigger than the Thugged Out Militainment days.
Yeah, way bigger. Way bigger.
Yeah,
you figure they're doing a million, sometimes 2 million downloads a week.
Yeah.
Like they're competing with fucking Joe Rogan, like
Right.
and like
Yeah.
these super
Adam
like big,
Carolla. Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
big shit.
Joe Rogan, he has like the biggest podcast,
hands down in the world,
Yeah.
the biggest podcast in the world.
Yeah.
Yep.
So of course, Black Thought, live mixtape, right on the heels of streams of thought that we want to talk to you about. What'd you think about the project? Have you gotten a chance to really get into it? Obviously, it's pretty short and concise, as a few projects have been over the past couple of weeks. What do you think about the short projects, and what do you think about Streams of Thought Volume 1?
You saying the short projects in general?
Well, just in general, but specifically Thought, and then we'll get into the other two as well.
Honestly, I can't even lie to you. I love Black Thought. He's in my Philly top 5. My Philly top 3. Excuse me. I don't want to shortchange Thought. But I have not listened to that project yet.
I mean, it was a busy weekend for you, so I mean, it just came out Friday.
He was doing a little bit of work,
and then did the Roots Picnic, came back. Well, had Uzi Saturday night at Vanity, came back Sunday, did another podcast. So like I'm kind of reeling a little bit. So I haven't even listened to it yet, and I'm mad that I haven't because Thought is one of my all-time favorite MCs. But I have no idea what's on there. But I would imagine that it's good because it's Black Thought.
And that's another thing too. Like in this era that we're in right now, this climate that we're in, it's almost like we have to apologize if we didn't listen to it literally the moment that it hits the web, or like that's not where we come from. We come from letting it breathe, sitting with it, listening to it several times, kind of consuming it. So we're definitely not condemning you for that at all. Did you get a chance to listen to Daytona though?
Absolutely. I'm living with Daytona. Like I love Daytona. I think it's an amazing project. I think that 2 more songs that are equally as good as these 7 would make it a classic. I think it's hard to be like a classic album when it's not an album length. It's 21 minutes long. So, it's hard to say that, but it's excellent. It's better than everything in the marketplace by far. And because it's so good and so lyrically rich and dense is why I kind of didn't really, on first listen, feel Pusha's second diss record to Drake, because I'm so used to him giving me multi-layered lyrics and things that I gotta think about, as opposed to like insults, like hurling insults like a 50 Cent or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just kind of felt like he cheated me a little bit in terms of the lyrical density on that record, but his album is like near perfect. I think it's like a 9.3 or something like that if I had to give it a rating. It's just a little too short. It's like it's over before it gets really started, really.
Yeah. It for me it works both ways, because I was just running to grab something from the store, and by the time I got to the store and got back home, the joint was over, and I was like, oh, I got through the whole album. So I mean, you could you could get multiple listens in. I found myself listening to it the first day like 3 or 4 times and not even like really like realizing because of the brevity of it, when you used to at least like an hour for most releases. But
the clips have an album in their discography that's 39 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
and that was extremely short for the time.
Yeah, because I mean, well, Illmatic, that's always my go-to album. That's 39 minutes, so and it was 9 songs in the intro, so I mean, there is some precedence for the short album.
Yeah.
But what do you think about in general of like this trend, this good music trend, so to speak, of the 7-song, I'm air quoting, album?
Well, I think it's a better trend than like the Cash Money 99 through 03 where they was giving you 34 songs on every album. Like I'm
with like 12 skits.
Like Manny Fresh is working overtime. Holy shit! Like and that's the reason why Manny Fresh is one of my top 4 or 5 producers, because he was doing whole albums front to back, and they was putting out 11 albums a year. Like, how do you maintain that shit and still create a Bling Bling, a Cash Money as an Army, all these classic beats in the midst of all this mass work that you was doing? So shout out to Manny Fresh. But I'm not mad at it. I just think like 7 is, I guess it's the number, I guess. And I guess, once you put it all together, you'll have it. These 5 albums, it'll be as half as long as Chris Brown's last album.
Yeah, you're right about that. Is
still short 20 tracks
now? Like, are the streets checking for Cudi and Kanye together? Kids see
I
ghosts?
don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I hate that. Can I go on record as saying I hate Kanye's album? It makes me like sad. Yo. It sounds like I'm listening to a Bob Ross painting.
Damn.
I'm glad you said it because I was all prepared to give Bull the business. Like that shit's sad, man, because we know
depressing as fuck, gentlemen. Like, it's not a good album to me. Again, I'm not the moral authority or the music authority on nothing, but to me, it's horrible. I deleted it off my streaming is $9.99 a month. The album was free. I deleted it from my streaming app. I don't want to accidentally come across it. It's terrible.
Yeah.
I was highly disappointed, but it's almost what I expected, because me personally and my brother always gets on me for this because I didn't like the last album. I know you guys did. I thought I didn't like
Pablo. I like Pablo a lot. The biggest thing I liked about Pablo was that it was like a living, breathing organism, and it kept getting updated and it kept changing, and like that part of it was cool, and it showed you exactly how music can live in the digital era. And Kanye made the most of it. He did not rap enough on that album, though, really, for it to be like a Kanye album. It's almost like the Dynasty album. Like, he didn't rap enough on that shit.
True.
Yeah, like, I like the idea of it, and I like that aspect of it. I just didn't. It felt to me like it was a Kanye trying to be Travis Scott. That's what I felt like when I heard it.
Kanye's been trying to be Travis Scott since Yeezus, if we want to keep it a buck.
Exactly.
Yeezus is a Travis Scott album with Kanye rapping the shit.
Talk to him.
It's a shitty Travis Scott album as
well. I say Pablo is a mix, but because Chance had such a heavy hand in the creation of it, you could hear Chance, you could hear Sci-Hi, you could hear Pusha T, and you definitely could hear Travis Scott all throughout Pablo. But I mean, he's fashioned himself as this, collaborator that's not afraid to bounce ideas and also take ideas, use ideas, and I think that's one of his greatest strengths. But
Kanye has been very honest about that, and I appreciate it because I think 90% of the industry is getting help from some source somewhere. I know it's all types of little dirty niggas that write big beautiful records and sell them to music industry types, Nellies and Wiz Khalifas and all types of shit. So I'm fully aware of the way that music is put together. Like, Atlantic literally right now is just giving motherfuckers hit records. Like, oh, we signed you to some bullshit 360 deal. You're going to get hot because you're going to go on the road and perform these records and get our motherfucking money and sell these t-shirts. So I'm aware of the way that, music is being created. So I appreciate the honesty of Kanye. But in certain moments, he's just flat out stealing people's sounds and masking it as, oh, well, he helped me. Well, yeah, you probably was working on whatever, and then the song y'all was working on turned into your song.
Yeah, that's what happened with Father Stretch My Hands, I think, for sure. Obviously Drake has been
vocal about that.
Vocal about.
That line was crazy.
Yeah. Phil, what do you think? And we'll ask Chad about this too. But what do you think overall about us not getting, kind of a more satisfying conclusion to the Drake and Pusha conflict?
I mean, I'm good with it because my thought is after you mention people that's not involved with it, Drake crossed that line, whether it was an innocent line or just a play on words. Once he brought his fiance into it, then it's fair game for everybody else. But after the Pusha response, the only in my eyes, the only next evolution is we gotta go to the closet and get the other gun. I mean, so that's the only logical next step in that process. So the fact that they're like kind of cooling it out. You know, I mean, it's somewhat unfulfilling as far as rap goes, but I look at the bigger picture. We lived through Big and Pac. We lived through, you know, a lot of other rap beefs that could have went way left if, you know, left unchecked. You know, so I couldn't see this one getting resolved on wax. So, you know, it's better that they probably just chill. I mean,
yeah, I feel you on that.
Your thoughts?
Mine, I mean, like I said, unfulfilling, not very satisfying from the standpoint of being able to get a conclusion from a competition standpoint, from a competitive aspect. You know, it started out sparring, and then you know, it's like one of those slap fights, you know, where you know somebody smacked you too hard, or you like, oh, come on, like now we actually got a rumble. But you know, I'm just not satisfied with it. These guys have hated each other for over, you know,
going on like 7-8 years, right?
7-8 years. Wayne, you know, a decade plus as far as his disdain with Pusha, and it's like for them finally to have the guts, for them to have the moment in time to go against each other, and for it to just come down to an OG. You know, check-in, basically kind of just stopping it is like kind of just unfulfilling. So, you know, I mean, it wasn't making or breaking my summer. There's been incredible music that's come out over the past, you know, past 5 months, and it will continue to come out. But just from kind of closing that chapter and all the subliminals and all the sneak dissing, you know, to finally be addressed like directly. That's what you want, right? That's what we're looking for. You don't want to
say my name.
Yeah. So the fact that it came to a head with that, and didn't manifest into anything tangible as far as a conclusion, you know, it's not over. To me, it's not over. So,
yeah, I would definitely tend to agree that it's just kind of anticlimactic. Like I get what Jay Prince is saying, you know, and more people should have an OG and respect, you know, certain OG calls and stuff like that. But it's very anticlimactic, especially being as though like 40 gotta like be like, well, damn, like this just over, like you ain't gonna say nothing, like.
Yeah,
Drake, you got Wendy Williams on the show talking crazy about Drake and his dad and his kid, and Drake's dad spazzing on Instagram. It's just like Pusha, like that's why as the week went on, Pusha's record resonated more and more with me because of the fallout from it.
Right.
And you just see motherfuckers spiraling out of control, like literally, like Drake's fucking hiding on Instagram. He deleted I'm Upset off of fucking all the streaming services because he shouted out ASAP Rocky, who turned out to be the fucking mole. Like It's just like a bad situation. Like we've never seen him in scramble mode like this. And I was interested to see how he came back. And it's just like it's over. Like because
he's still so strategic when you look at it. Even when he made his press statement, everybody knows his allegiance to Apple. He's got some funny little connection with them that's going on behind the scenes. He did it using the Notes app on an iPhone. I just like little stuff like that. Like he still is just like, oh no, I'm gonna get this off. Like you got me off my square a little bit, but I'm still gonna stay true to my monetizing, you know, my monetizing ways.
Absolutely.
I thought that was cool though. So
yeah, because Push definitely fucked up that Adidas deal a little bit. At least put
for that reason alone, what you gotta know, that's gotta be like something like 10-12 million a year or whatever like that, and you just fuck my whole rollout up. Like you might gotta hire a Russian hitman. Like you might have to.
And see, that's what I'm talking about. But I've been one of the things that I've been getting from a lot of people online. They don't believe Jay Prince. I'm like, maybe you should do your research on Jay Prince, but they don't believe.
It's so much of that. Not to talk over you, bro. It's so much of that going on in social media today, in particular. Like people like, well, he's using this to sell books and this and that, and I'm like, yo, this man been rich since 1983. I don't think he needs to like. This book selling is not going to make or break the legacy of Jay Prince. Like if he makes the New York Times bestsellers list or not. But just in general, what we see, and I know y'all see it too, it's so many people that are so happily uninformed about things. And
absolutely.
They speak with so much fervor and so much vitriol about things that they have no idea about and no information to back up what they think. There were so many Jay Prince full of shit, blah, blah, blah. By the way, who's Jay Prince? Like 3 tweets later, it's like, who's Jay Prince?
Yeah.
No. Like, see that's what I'm talking about.
I saw somebody say nobody outside of Houston respects Jay Prince. I was baffled.
Yeah.
That's why I told the young boy today. I was like, obviously you're not too familiar with who Jay Prince is. Like, because the first thing he said is like, who the fuck is boy to be speaking for Drake? I'm like, yo, first of all, you should rewind that statement. Because you're in Texas too. No, don't do that.
Yeah.
You might get a knock on your door.
You might get a where you at message.
Yeah.
Turn your location on type job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Texas is a giant state, but ass whippings travel, as I was once told.
They say bad news will beat you home. Like dealing with Jay Prince, bad news will beat you home, man.
Shout to Roy Wood Jr. who shared a nice little anecdote about Jay Prince. For those that don't know, listeners,
he said he left his state and he was so scared.
He said he got commissioned to do a comedy prank album, and the first person that he called was Jay Prince, and he got on there talking reckless, and Jay Prince just responded, "Where you at?" he kept going. He said, "No."
Which is the most Jay Prince thing to ever do in life. Like,
we don't need to talk about nothing else. Where you at, man?
Where you at, man?
We need to talk face to face.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, people don't understand, like, because dude not in the forefront of the industry these days, he is still an extremely powerful individual in hip hop and in life in general. You know what I mean?
If you go back and listen to Scarface and the Ghetto Boys discography, all of those street stories are Jay's stories.
Yeah.
They're all of those them shootout stories and all that. That's all about Jay.
It's like the shit Q was writing for NWA. That was easy, rolling in my 6'4". I mean, because like he said, he ain't have a 6'4", but Easy did. So you know what I mean,
yeah. Chad, we appreciate you rocking with us. We got a couple more things that we want to talk about before we let you go. Of course, the internet, as people say, is undefeated. So is the amount of cameras that are inside of an NBA arena. I don't think people really understand it. Sometimes the players forget, right?
Yeah, it's can't get away with nothing.
Straight up, right? So the footage that came out today, in the morning of LeBron James and the extended long cut of J.R. Smith and him walking to the bench, and then what transpired in the 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes between the fourth quarter and overtime. I mean, it was like watching a sad silent film, man.
Yeah, it was like watching the hot air balloon go up with nobody in it. And they're like, oh shit, how did the balloon go up? Like, what happened?
I mean, if that wasn't a glimpse into the dysfunction that is the Cleveland Cavaliers, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
We wanted to get your take on just overall, just what you think about the trilogy turning into a not so much needed sequel in number 4. Where you think LeBron might go next year, and where do you see this series going from here with it being 2-0?
Well, unfortunately, the team as it's presently constructed is a direct reflection of what LeBron wanted at a time. So roughly 2-3 years ago, this was the team that he wanted. He vouched for JR getting paid. He vouched for Tristan getting paid. He vouched for all of his guys. He didn't want Isaiah. He isolated Kyrie, but then at the same time didn't want Kyrie to leave. He wanted Cleveland to put the kibosh on any potential trade offers for Kyrie. And then, he tried to make it seem like Isaiah Thomas was on Kyrie's level. Then that unraveled, and they had to trade him for a box of backwoods and and a couple big lighters. And it's just like, he's kind of reaping what he sows. And this is, a direct reflection of, what you want may not always be good for you. And at the time, because they were able to pull off their legendary victory. LeBron said, fuck it, you get a contract, you get a contract, you get a contract. And ultimately it's coming back to bite him in the ass when he's still somehow ascending his play, and all of these guys have become shit all at the same time.
Yeah. Even if you look at the youngsters, and Phil, you could talk about this a little bit, the youngsters that were brought in at the trade deadline. You look at George Hill, you know, who at this point now he's a 9-year vet. He's someone that's made his way around the league. He was awarded with one of the richest contracts last summer. He looks like, I mean, just like a deer in headlights. Rodney Hood was someone that was getting about 15 points a game. He can't get off the bench. Larry Nance, you know, energy guy. Okay, that's fine. But when you just look at Jordan Clarkson, I thought this dude could ball, man.
Yeah, we all did.
Yo, I mean, he's so the biggest wolf cookies ever, yo.
Clarkson was being held back in LA.
Exactly. You look at him now, and I mean, these are 4 guys that were brought in, and none of them look like they should be on the floor in this series. Where do you see it going now that it's taking its way back to Cleveland?
Well, I mean, they're definitely about to get. I mean, it's over. The series is over. You know, look, when LeBron has a 51.8 rebound, 8 assist game, and you lose by 10 in overtime because of 2 mental mistakes by your teammates,
yeah,
that means that you have been playing with house money this whole time, and essentially because of the fact that you played in a whole conference full of pussies outside of Boston, you got the benefit of the doubt. Like, what are their names? Lowry and DeRozan literally were like crying every game. Well, we had LeBron, we'd be winning too. Like, what the fuck type of shit is that?
It's terrible. Yeah, it's terrible.
Hoes I knows in Toronto's, man. Yo, I can't.
When the Detroit Pistons was going against the young Chicago Bulls, like, Mike wasn't like, well, shit, if I had Isaiah Thomas, I'd be winning too. Like, that wasn't like, you can't, even if you think that, you can't say that. But if you think that, you've already lost. So essentially, this series is over. You know, they may or may not win one game. They might, you know, Golden State has a problem of playing down to their level of competition and getting bored with shit. Not listening to Steve Kerr, Draymond firing up 7 threes, even though he can't shoot, shit like that. So they're prone for a mental lapse and just having a horrible game.
And let's be honest, they love celebrating Oracle, so they may just give them one, so that they can celebrate at home.
They might give them one just to go back home.
Normally
they may not.
Normally, I would agree with y'all, but I think just based on what happened the last time. Not last season, but the last time Cleveland won. Yeah, they like, yo, we gotta it's foot on next season. I think Steph gonna come out the same way he was in this game in 3. They might win game 4. They not winning 3 though. Like I feel like Golden State just they feel like this can't happen again, and we can't give dude no kind of sign of life.
Yeah.
So because he's liable to rally them dudes in some kind of weird ass way like before. You know, Draymond won the way he be ramming on the refs. They likely to actually throw his ass out of one of the games because I can't.
Sure.
He's been getting real emboldened considering like he's like the new quote unquote Rodman, if you will, and it's just wild though to think that this team was totally different at the start of the season. Totally different players. They make the mid-season trades. They make their run. They barely pass Indiana, and then once they got through Indiana, you knew
it was smooth sailing.
I knew there was no way in the world Toronto was going to be. We talked about this on one of the podcasts where they won. We were like, I got whatever on Cleveland. I don't care. And then Boston, I was like, okay. I didn't think Boston could beat them. But I was like, yo, Cleveland's team is not good enough for the talent level that Boston has. So
like when you pick Cleveland against Boston, Cleveland has the best player in the series by far. With no Kyrie, no Gordon Hayward, they have the best player in the series by far. But the next 10 best players are all
exactly. and that was my thing. And then when they got past them, he's like, well, we should have knew because it's LeBron. But Golden State was put together for the sole purpose to keep LeBron from winning championships.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
So like Kevin Durant going there was because he couldn't beat Golden State, so he was like, "I'm gonna do the next best thing."
Yeah, I can't beat Golden State. They might not be able to beat LeBron. We might as well get together and ensure that he don't win shit else.
Yeah.
So if you were handling where he would go, if you were going to give him some consulting advice, where would you tell him to go if he wanted to win a championship next season?
Well, I mean, if he wants to win a championship next season, he should go to Boston, but he can't do that because then you're basically stalking the guy that you isolated and you got on his nerves for 2 years. So you can't really do that. So your next best bet is if you want to further aggravate this guy that was your Robin, you go to Philly. So I think that if he goes to Houston, it's a total cop out. It's Miami on steroids because Chris Paul is a Hall of Famer. James Harden is presently one of the 5 or 6 best players in the game. So it's even worse than like the Miami situation.
Is he worse than KD if he goes to Houston?
Nah, he's not worse because
KD had a 3-1 lead if he wanted to go to the finals.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Like, so he's not worse than KD, but it's like KD's decision is a product of LeBron's decision, and then LeBron's new decision is a product of what KD just did, and basically providing a blockade from him winning anything. So his next move has to be either a lifestyle decision or a basketball decision. If he goes to LA, he's not winning nothing because you still got to play. You got to play Golden State 4 times a year, and then in the playoffs when you go. Yeah. You don't want to deal with that shit.
And you got to deal with Houston
3 or 4 times.
You got to deal with San Antonio with Kawhi being back.
You got to deal with Utah a year better. Like,
yeah,
you're going to end up having to run the damn gauntlet before you even get to the playoffs.
His only move is to stay in the East, which he
has to stay in the East. We can eliminate 12 teams that we know he's not going to. He's not going to Washington. He's not going to Toronto. He's not going to Detroit. He's not going to Milwaukee. He's not going back to Miami. It's like you can eliminate all these teams off rip. The only real play is the Sixers or Boston, and he can't go to Boston because he's going to look crazy.
So what if he opts in back for Cleveland, but he says, all right, you got to get me this, get me that. Is that a possibility?
I mean, he doesn't have any desirable pieces to get rid of. I mean, all they got is they needed that number 8 pick to be a top 4 pick, which didn't happen. They need JR to not play like complete dog shit. They need Rodney Hood to show some signs of life. They need Larry Nance and Jordan Clarkson to not be complete and utter garbage. And all of these things are going against them all at the same time to where it's like, all right, the season's going to be over. And then 3 weeks later or 2.5 weeks later, it's going to be free agent season following the draft. You don't have any potential pieces to get rid of other than Kevin Love, who's injured every other week.
Yeah. Do you think they can get Paul George? They can convince him to come to Cleveland if LeBron stays?
No, nobody wants to go to Cleveland.
Nah.
The same way they couldn't get Amari Stoudemire in his prime to come there a few years ago is the same reason why Paul George is not coming there. Nobody with sense wants to be in Cleveland.
There's no reason
LeBron
to be in Cleveland.
LeBron is the only smart person in the world that wants to be in Cleveland.
And that's because he's from Ohio. That's only
he's from there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a hometown thing. You see, Kyrie got the fuck out of there. Get me out. We won, and I want to go home. I want to get out of here. Get me out of here, please. Pretty please, get me out of here. With the best player in the game. We just won a chip a year ago.
Yeah.
We lost this one. We won a chip a year ago. I don't care. Get me the fuck out of here.
Now, that leads us to our last topic, Chad. We appreciate you rocking with us. This one here, Phil I'm the NBA guy. Phil is the NFL guy. But, anybody that listens to your show knows that you and Matt represent a certain type of Philadelphian, we should say. And for people that aren't familiar with, southeastern Pennsylvania, as you mentioned before, in the tri-state area, there's a very large contingent of guys that grew up. We've heard Matt talk about his pop, his pop, his grandpop, them being Eagles fans, right?
Yeah.
And then he's a Cowboys fan like yourself.
Yeah, I'm the
What's
exact.
going
My
on?
father is a Cowboys fan, so I was raised a Cowboys
Right.
fan.
Okay. All right.
And
So
I've tried to come up from under it several times, and my dad curses me out every time.
All right. So you're a little different. You're a little different, but you're still in the same boat still.
Yes, absolutely.
As we look to this season that's coming up, and we just look at everything that's going on with the NFL and how the current president of the United States is using the NFL as a way for him to distract people from a lot of other things that I'm sure he's doing, 3-car Molly style. The Eagles were scheduled to arrive at the White House of Washington, D.C., nation's capital, and visit the White House and the president, like, all of the major sports teams do. And earlier today, Phil, what happened?
Orange Boy just basically was like, he canceled it. He was like, all right, he didn't even really give a reason. He just the White House canceled the appointment with no rescheduled date as of yet.
Yeah, that's weird because that never happens.
He said there were 1,000 fans that were going to be permitted to come to meet the Eagles and whatnot. They still are allowed to come. There will be a ceremony to honor the troops and honor the military that he so proudly loves. And the fact that the Eagles have chosen to not show the same type of love and respect for the country. It's just to see his statement is the first half of it is written in third person. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, this is actually him talking. Because then he says, and it's like, oh, wow, okay, this dude is crazy. Like, so,
right.
We all know you enjoyed the parade, even though you're a Cowboys fan. You enjoyed the run that the Eagles were on. What do you think about the stance?
Hold on, before we get to that, yo, where the fuck did you get a Lombardi trophy from, y'all?
Listen, I'll give y'all the exclusive, right? So we had a watch party at the club at Vanity, whatever. No dance. We just did a straight Eagles watch party. We in Philly. We might as well open up and give people somewhere to come watch the game at. So a friend of mine played semi-pro football, and their trophy was the Lombardi. So he brought the trophy to the watch party, and when the Eagles won, start passing the trophy around. So it looked identical to the Lombardi, but it said like Southeast back blockers or whatever the fuck the name of their team was that won the championship. But nonetheless, I got my pick and everybody was mad as shit. Where did you get the fucking Lombardi trophy from?
I was like, this nigga's magical. I was like, he not even in Minnesota and he got a Lombardi. But go ahead. I just had to ask that.
But Phil and I were saying it too. Phil has been I don't want to say a hater, but definitely not the biggest supporter of the Eagles throughout.
I'm full Niner gang, yo. I'm SF to death. So I mean, like my shout out to my man MP Yizzo.
But I said all that to say, what do you think about the fact that Chris Long, Malcolm Jenkins, just various Eagles, did their thing as far as just making at least people feel uncomfortable about however you felt about not supporting the cause that people were trying to bring to attention. And
I think it's the absolute right thing to do on their behalf because you have to stand for something. And it's like, I get it. Everybody got a job. Everybody got a certain livelihood. They want to provide for their family and for their kids and this, that, and the third. But when you see someone being railroaded in the manner in which that Colin Kaepernick is being railroaded, and then you see guys that couldn't fucking throw a Snapple from the A+ to the parking lot getting jobs, it's confusing as hell because these teams keep telling us the same thing. Oh, we see him more as a starter. Well, how come when your starter goes down, you don't sign the guy that you feel should be a potential starter?
Right. Three people that have been his backup at one point all have jobs in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys that are just complete dog shit. Because as we all know, the NFL is and has always been top heavy when it comes to quarterback play. You got about 7 elite quarterbacks, another 5 that are above average to great, and then everybody else, you can cut the deck with them motherfuckers. You couldn't pick them out of a lineup if you've seen them, if they pulled a fucking shotgun on you and robbed you. So to sit here and say that an accomplished quarterback is Kaepernick, who took his team to the fucking Super Bowl not that long ago, all of a sudden just can't play football is like the most confusing shit ever. And the fact of Chris Long and how hard he goes just for social justice, period,
Absolutely,
and prison reform and all of that. And it just goes to show that he was raised the right way by his father, Howie Long, and raised to not see color and to just look at a situation and say, this is some bullshit, I ain't with it, and I'm going to do what I can to fight against this. He's donated his whole salaries before to fucking social justice reform and different organizations and shit like that, because that's how much he believes in his message and how fucked up things are and that they need to change. Malcolm Jenkins, on the other hand, he's a little underhanded, and he basically sold the right to protest out to the NFL in exchange for like some fucking sponsorship money or some old
shit. I'm like, who made him the voice? That's what I was always trying to.
He made him the voice.
He made himself the voice.
Man.
Malcolm Jenkins, for those of you that don't know, was an above average to good player during his days in New Orleans. He wasn't nobody special. He came to the Eagles as a free agent, and he became their vocal leader at a time where they were rebuilding and they had dumbass Chip Kelly coaching the team, and fucking Howie Roseman got booted out of the front office and got moved around to a fucking office by a porta potty and like all type of stupid shit that was going on with the Eagles at the time. And he assumed the voice of the team. Yeah. And through their rebuild and them getting good, you know, he's basically essentially become their best defensive player. He honed his skills. He got better. But he did some underhanded shit just this past season and basically sold out the NFLPA in exchange for like $4 million or some old fucking deferred sponsorship. It was like some weird shit that he did, and he was the NFLPA player president or whatever the fuck when he did it.
Yeah. Yep, and from that point on, nobody else kneeled, really protested. It just ended right there.
It just stopped.
Yeah. And the deal was supposed to be they donate $100 million so the NFL owners donate $100 million to social programs. Somehow it magically turned to 88 million from 100 million.
Yeah, processing fee.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they was like, well, the main thing, we just got to get this anthem thing solved. So they passed that, you know, whatever. Nothing about these social programs.
Yeah.
Not one word.
And then they come back and double down on the anthem shit and tell you, if you're not going to stand for the anthem, stay your black ass in the locker room.
Yeah. So you still alienating the people, because it's not like you're going to see who's out there and who's not. And it still has the same effect without the ability to protest these injustices. And the fact that it was even made about the anthem, you know, it's just that we already know what that is. But the thing
it's a manufactured issue.
Yeah, and the thing that makes it crazy to me, I thought this was a cash rule society. Dudes with more money than Donald Trump are bowing down to Donald Trump, and it's like okay, like I thought the biggest bank take the little bank. So
yeah, absolutely.
But it doesn't seem to be working that way. They're really just saying like we're worried about his influence.
But then you have somebody like Robert Kraft that's running around with Meek Mill for the last 3 months.
And that's just weird, man.
He's become the poster child for social justice reform and fucking opioid recovery and this, that.
But doesn't he have investments in privatized prisons?
I'm sure he does. I'm sure they all do.
I'm pretty sure. I don't quote me, but I'm 90% sure he does, because that was a thing. That was a thing, because when they were talking about Meek and prison reform, they were saying that like a large majority of NFL owners have stock in investments in privatized prisons and prisons for profit. And I'm pretty sure Robert Kraft was one of them, unless he divested in the last 3 months.
Right. On his Meek Mill promo run.
He getting ready for his new rollout.
He like, nah, the private prison shit, nah, get it going. It gotta go. Yo,
So,
I heard real quick on the privatized prison shit.
Yeah.
I heard a crazy statistic today. We have built more prisons in the last 3 years than we have built schools in the United States in the last 10 years.
Oh, I 100% believe it, because these computers got to get made, and they not trying to ship them over from it was too expensive to pay Asian workers 3 cents an hour, so they got prison dudes to build the computers for 0.5 cent an hour.
Yeah,
so
because we don't want to pay the freight cost is too much to get them over here.
Yeah, so not only did they pay them less, they cut out the shipping. Yeah, I mean, it's just wild. Like everything they got going on, man. I don't want to end on that bullshit, because that's just gonna get me mad. But we're gonna let you get out. I got to get to the one last thing though that I had on my docket.
What's that? Let's go.
The sneakers, though. Kicks USA. I'm gonna tell you this. You got a homie Phil. In my circle, I'm Phil. So when you kept saying sneaker Phil on the joint, 30 people, including my own wife, was like, "Yo, you're on the Realest podcast?" Like, she listens, by the way, and I'm like, "No," I was like, "That's not me."
I am.
Yeah, I'm right here. Like, but no, it was crazy, because they was like, "Yo, you should be on there." So I mean,
we got the next one is scheduled to be this coming Sunday. So if I'm waiting on the word from my Kicks USA Connect. So if it is, then we did call-ins last go round. You're gonna be our first call-in.
Say less
for the next one. You know what I mean?
Say less, because I'm so, that is my thing. But I know I see you killed the luxury kick game. That's never been my personal thing.
Yeah.
Yo, how do you do the Balenciagas though? Like the triple sole?
The Balenciaga is such a unique product, because when I first seen it, I thought it was the ugliest piece of crap I ever seen.
And you were correct, sir.
And then I seen it again, and I was like, "Oh, these is all right." And then I seen it again, and was like, "This is fucking terrible." And then they finally released, and like they were tangible to where I could walk into a store and see them, and I was like, I can do something with this. And now it's literally the shoe that I wear more than anything. Like I've worn that shoe probably a good 15 times in the last month and a half. I have other shoes that I think look better and stylistically are better shoes. I haven't even taken out the box, but I keep wearing my Triple S pretty much like on an every other day basis.
Yeah, they take 2 chains from 6'5" to 6'9", so that right there already tells you. It's like, man. Nah, but definitely, yeah, the luxury kick game, definitely you got that on lock, but also what you're doing with Kicks USA.
Yeah, don't get it fucked up. Like I still, rock my boots and occasional pair of Yeezys. I'm trying to wean off the Yeezys because I hate his dumb ass. But and I still, my Jordan ones, 3s, and like an occasional 6. But I keep all my 1s and 3s in rotation. I got a brand new pair of 3s that dropped this year, the Black Cements. I was so hyped to get them, got them early and everything. Haven't even taken them out the box. I'm a fucking idiot.
Gotta unds those.
Yeah, definitely.
3s is probably my second favorite sneaker of all time. The Black Cement 3s is my second favorite sneaker of all time. So yeah, that's key, major key. Yeah, man. When y'all did the sneaker joint, I was loving it, man. You should have seen me, and I'm listening, and I want to chime in, and I'm like listening, like yo, because a lot of the stories I really related to a lot of the stories that you guys were talking about, and it was just good to see like actual real sneaker talk, not like from a like I'm trying to sell this product perspective, right, but just a genuine group of people just talking about sneakers, and it was real dope. So shout out to y'all for putting that together.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Chad, again, one half of the realest podcast ever. Shout out to Matt. Definitely gotta make sure.
Matt's having surgery on Thursday. He's got like a little minor heart condition, so he's having he's having an inpatient surgery this coming Thursday. So pray for my partner, man. I think
sure.
Absolutely.
They told him that his recovery time is a day, so I mean, I'm guessing that he's going to be okay, but you never know. So make sure y'all pray for Matt. He's somewhere knee deep in a casino right now, trying to get his last little couple of rocks off before he got to be on bed rest for the whole weekend. So he may or may not be on the sneaker podcast, but nevertheless, I'm gonna hold it down for the team.
Yeah, we definitely wanted to give him a shout. And shout out to you guys too, man, for putting people on to Sean Cotton and the whole Say Cheese movement.
No doubt.
Since he's been on your show,
so many people wanted to kill Sean.
I mean, listen,
people hate him. Rappers from all over the country.
Listen,
I seen that Kevin Gates joint before he was even on. I seen that. I was like, yo, dude, he should be more careful. Like I was worried about him because Kevin Gates doesn't seem like he has all the screws.
He's not a Jay Prince, but he's another no nonsense.
guy. Yeah, I don't want to laugh. I don't like
he don't get tired either. So I mean.
Yeah, definitely though. Just in that whole realm of blogging and kind of reporting on the culture, definitely want to give a RIP definitely to Zach TV. He was somebody in Chicago that was very influential.
I love Zach's channel. Zach used to scare me though because he would be in some environments where I'm like, yo, if the feds kick in the door right now, y'all all are done. Like niggas is on Zach with the bricks, the triple beam, the quinine, and the money, and the guns. So
that's what I'm saying. There's two sides to this. I think what makes you guys the realest is the fact that you're not going to be involved with any BS like that. You're
absolutely not.
You're coming from your perspective, and we're trying to do the same thing as far as coming from ours and staying true to us.
Yeah, I have every intention on interviewing AR Ab in the next month. I am not going to the trap house to do it though. It's not happening.
Yo, it's so funny. That house, that's the block I grew up on. That is across the street from my grandma's old house.
Yeah. That's real.
Yeah.
On that note, Chad, man, we appreciate you, man, and we definitely got to do this again soon.
Absolutely, man. Whenever y'all need me, I'm back here. Make sure y'all subscribe to the Realest Podcast ever. We on all the podcast platforms, Stitcher Podcast, Google Play, fucking iTunes podcast store. People ask me all the time, how do you get to the podcast? I'm like, hey, you have a little purple app on your iPhone that says podcast on it. It comes preloaded on your phone.
Yeah.
And people are like, holy shit, I never knew what this was for.
Yo, I be doing it for them. Yo, I be like, yo, let me see your phone.
Follow us on Instagram at the Realest Podcast ever. On Twitter at TRPE 2017. You can follow
two of the best follows on Twitter. My bad, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
You can follow my personal page. I reactivated my page. I was off Twitter for like 3 weeks and now I'm back. I had to do like a social media cleanse. People was pissing me off and I was going to go to people's houses and fight them. But I'm back on Twitter at _C Diddy. And my Instagram is plus.ceo. That's plus CEO. And it's not plus CEO. It stands for People Like Us Media CEO, which is my company that I created with my cousin Mike, God bless his day, who passed away about 9 years ago.
Man.
All right, man. Again, man, salute to you. Salute to Matt. Matt, get well soon before you even go in for your procedure.
And get on that stand-up stage, Matt. Yo, Matt, you have to convince Matt to do stand-up, yo.
Yo, he just don't want to do it, man. I told him, I said, yo, if you do 5, it's like if you do 10 minutes, I'll do 5. He's like, you can't do 5 minutes of comedy. You're going to end up fighting people. Your jokes are too hurtful.
Yo, man.
No doubt, man. All right, man. Salute.
Parting shot. TRPE live show in Philly coming soon. It's either going to be at Punchline Philly or at the Foundry. And it's going to be either late August or first week of September, one or the other. But I ain't fucking with Made in America week, so it might be either the week before or the week after that shit.
Man,
No
let
doubt.
us know, man. Phil, we might have to partake, man.
No
Road
doubt.
trip.
Yeah, no
absolutely.
doubt. All right, Chad.
Gentlemen, I appreciate y'all, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No doubt, man. Have a good night.
Have a good one. Thank you.
Y'all.
Filmatic.
Yes, sir.
That was one for the books. We definitely have been wanting to talk to Chad and Matt for a minute. Again, we're sending definitely some well wishes out there from Matt.
Yeah, man, he gonna be in the street clothes for a minute.
Yeah. As far as what we talked about today, we got his perspective on things, and we interjected as well. We got an interesting next couple of weeks coming up. We definitely want to give a shout out to Planet Asia. We just premiered his episode that we did.
Absolutely. He's on a tour right now.
Yeah.
With Apollo Brown, who may be visiting the Heat Holderz very soon. More on that. Stay tuned.
But definitely check out Mansa Musa, his new project that's out there, as well as Golden Buddha. And if you haven't checked out Anchovies, what are you doing?
Hey, Anchovies is one of the best projects I've heard in the last 5 years. So, like unequivocally,
take
like,
it
just
from us,
top to bottom, production, rhymes, everything. So check
it out.
You doing?
We did definitely did ode to 1988 as well. So we out here, man, and tissueandthetape.com coming soon.
Really?
Tally,
really, for real.
Tallyandtwine.com. Make sure you go there to check out the watches, all the fine timepieces, Father's Day, graduation coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And War Room Sports Podcast Network. The Burtons are out there in Europe.
Yeah, man.
Posting pics of food and all types of stuff. So
eaters in Paris.
be on the lookout for the coming episodes of John Appetit and of course the War Room as well from the War Room Sports Podcast Network. Filmatic, salute to you as always.
Sir, right
take
back
us out. Take us out with the fader.
Okay, gang. Real quick, man. Before I do that, I just definitely want to send my prayers out to the whole Niner family. Rest in peace to the starter of the dynasty, at least a large part of it. Dwight Clark passed away earlier today as we record this. So definitely prayers out to all his family, his friends, and his fans. He's most famous for The Catch, which 1981 NFC Championship game that launched the dynasty of the San Francisco 49ers, So, we end on that. And as I always say, Vod, work for the money, live for the love, and die for what you believe in. This is Tissue and the Tape. It's the home of the MC. So respect Heat Holderz.